Now let us write this program for implementing the matrix multiplication. First I'm going to define some of the variables which I'll need in this example. Firstly, the loop iteration variables I, j and k. Then I'll need four variables for defining the order. Four variables for the order of the matrices. I'll name them as mn. So matrix A will be of the order m into n and matrix B will be of the order p into q. The next step is to ask the user to enter the values of the order of the matrices. Before we proceed any further, it's better to check if these matrices are compatible for matrix multiplication. So the condition is the number of columns of matrix A, that is n, if n not equals to number of rows of matrix B. B is a p cross q matrix, so the number of rows is p. If m is not equals to p, then I'll print an error message and I'll simply exit the program. I'll use exit 0 to quit the program. Exit 0 is defined under stdlib.h, so I will have to include that header file in my program. So if n is not equals to p, we are just going to print an error message and quit the program. If the matrices are compatible, we need to proceed with reading the matrices and multiplying them. So next I am going to read the two-dimensional matrix. Now that we have read the dimensions of the matrix, I can define two matrices, A with the dimensions m and n rows, and matrix B with the dimension p rows and q columns, and then we have matrix C. The dimensions of matrix C are m into q. Now I am going to make use of nested for loops to read the contents of matrices A and B. For matrix A, the number of rows is m. So the I loop is going to go from 0 to m, and the j loop is for the number of columns. Ampersand A of I and j. Same way I am going to read the contents of matrix B. I am simply going to copy this and B matrix. The matrix B has p rows and q columns, and this is how I am going to read the contents of matrix B. After I read the contents of matrix A and B, I can proceed further with the multiplication. In the last video, we have already seen how we can make use of nested for loops to compute the multiplication of two matrices. We are going to implement this logic in our program now. So in the first for loop, for I equals to 0, I less than number of rows of A, that is m I plus plus. And then I have the second for loop, that is the j loop. J is for iterating over columns of B. The number of columns of B is q. And then we have the third for loop. In the third for loop, we are going to compute the value of C of ij. So initially I need to set the value of C of ij to 0. And then I am going to compute it using the k loop. For k equals to 0, k is going to iterate over total number of columns of A, or I can also consider it as total number of rows of B. both are equal. If you notice, that is because these two should be equal. So I'll take the value of n. Remember, n is equals to p, so it doesn't matter whether you take the value of n or p over here. K iterates from 0 to n, then k plus plus. Here I am going to compute the value of c of ij. I am going to update the value of c of ij as, so it is plus equals to a of ik into b of kj. This completes our matrix multiplication. The last step is to display the contents of the matrices. The best way to display the contents of a two-dimensional matrix is once again using a nested for loop. Now I am going to print the values of the three matrices. Here the I loop is used to represent each row of A and J represents each column of row I. In a row I there will be several cells, so the J loop is going to represent each of that column of a particular row I. So once I finish printing a particular row, I want to move to the next line. So I'll add a /n statement, a new line statement to print the next set of elements in the next row. Same way I'll use the same logic to print the contents of matrix B. So matrix B contents, the only changes we have to make here is the dimensions of the matrix. Matrix B has dimensions P and Q, and then we need to print the values of matrix B. The same logic once again to print the contents of matrix C. As you can see, it's the same set of code that we are repeating for all A, B and C, just the dimensions are changing. Now for the dimensions of matrix C. Previously we have seen that if you are trying to multiply an m cross n into p cross q matrix, the condition is that n should be equals to p and the resultant matrix will have the dimension m cross q. So when coding a C matrix, our rows span from 0 till m and our columns span from 0 to q because it's an m cross q matrix. Now let me go ahead and execute our program. Enter the dimensions of matrix A. I'll take the same example. So here we have matrix A as 3 cross 3 matrix. These will be the values of m and n, and matrix B will be 3 cross 2. Clearly both the matrices are compatible, so we can enter the values, we can enter the contents of matrix A. The contents have to be entered row wise, so it would be 1 2 3 2 5 1 8 7 5. You can notice that I have not given the values in the form of a matrix. Then enter the contents of matrix B. In matrix B we have 2 1 1 3 3 2. So here we have the output. Even though I have entered the values of the matrices in a single straight line, because of the formatting that we have given in our program, it neatly displays the contents of the matrix. So a 3 cross 3 matrix into a 2 cross 3 matrix gives us this result. Let me run this program and check for incompatible matrices. I'll give a matrix of dimension 3 cross 3 and 2 cross 2. Matrices are not compatible for multiplication and it quits the program. This is how a matrix multiplication program works.